Good afternoon. My name is Irving Mendez. I am a junior at South Hills High School.
Good afternoon. My name is Jimena Aragones. I am a freshman at Uplift Summit.
Good afternoon. My name is Daniela. I'm a freshman at Uplift Summit as well.
Today's topic we're going to be discussing about is the DACA walkouts in South Hills and at Pass School. The first question I want to ask you guys is, what is DACA?
DACA is basically like a system that helps those children who were brought here illegally, like get a good education system, and like they get aid, to help them with like school.
Okay.
It also has a renewable 2-year period of deferred action from deportation that allows you to become eligible for work permits here in the United States.
Okay. And why was it important that the media and the students that walked out brought attention to this under this new administration? Why hasn't it been brought up under previous administrations?
I think it's mainly because of the dismissal of the program being offered by the Trump administration, when really it's just benefited society as a whole and has brought in so many more opportunities for immigrants, and it really hasn't had any negative effects.
Yeah, I agree. Like it has helped so many kids, and then all of a sudden they want to take it away, and like it's gonna affect so many people that it has to be brought to their attention.
So, with all this support for it, why do you think under this new administration that they want to dismiss of this program that seems to be helping people, like it seems to be helping immigrants that just don't really understand their own country and have really mixed well with the American culture, and that's all they know? Why would they want to?
I'm not sure why they would want to dismiss it, to be honest, because I think like there's so many benefits for it for those who have been here. So,
Yeah, there's one.
I know they've been arguing that it's about money and how they've been spending millions of dollars on this program, but really they also spend millions of dollars on things like security, like the army and stuff, so I don't really understand why they're choosing to dismiss this program against many others.
Yeah.
This program has been really effective.
I agree. Like it's not a waste of money. It's like helping people. There's so many other things that they should be like worrying about, and they take this opportunity away from kids, and I think it's unreasonable.
So with the theme of this year's Cowtown Clasico being youth leadership in the 21st century and how it's affecting the community, how do you think young leaders, or young Latino leaders more specifically, in the future can help out, make sure that this program is still alive and doing well, and further support it so that it can cover a very broad range of immigrants that come to this country at a young age?
Well, since the Latinos in this generation are the ones who are going through it, and like they're protesting and they're walking out, they're experienced, and in the future they can help those who are struggling, and like kind of guide them through it. And since then we'll have like an actual, we have a voice right now, but they'll be able to like vote and like speak out. They can help those younger generations.
Right. Your opinion on something. Danielle, right? Alright. So, with the South Hills High School walkout, that got a lot of media attention from local news outlets, and there's an interview on the Star Telegram. In the background, you can see students standing on tables and chairs, speaking up about their experiences and their families and what they're going through with this administration and with DACA. Why do you think separating those students from their families, why do you think it's going to have such a negative effect on their life that they have to stand on tables and chairs to have their voices heard?
I think they feel like they have to do that because they are youth and they have to get their voices heard, because it really does affect them. If their family goes away, it affects them. Like, who's going to take care of them? And right now I know there's talks about having camps for the parents that are deported, and immigrant kids, they're going to be forced to go to those camps instead of going with their families.
Okay. With those camps, like, why? people would make the argument that it's a good thing that they still get to see their families, but it's in a camp. It's in a very confined area where, like, they probably have rules or restrictions there. Why is that a negative thing?
It's a negative thing because they won't get to see their friends and they won't get to have the same opportunities as they do right now.
Yeah, I agree because, like, if they have to go to a camp dedicated just to holding these undocumented, I would say, citizens, why it almost seems unheard of. Like, why would I need to go to a camp to go see my family? Like, that's beyond reasoning. Another question I wanted to ask you guys is, how, do you know anyone like that's like been affected by it, like personally, like or a friend or family?
Yeah, I have quite a few family friends who like are here because of DACA, and like they didn't really have a choice because they were born over there and their parents brought them here, and then they're trying to apply to colleges and they're trying to like find a future for themselves, and then they realize that they can't because they weren't born here even though they consider this their home. And like it's really heartbreaking because like they are technically citizens of the United States. Like they work hard to continue here, and yeah.
So, a lot of people criticize immigrants that were either born there and came here at a young age, or were born here but family their parents from somewhere else. They criticize them as saying that they're living off of the American taxpayers' money, that they're benefiting from these taxes and they're not giving taxes back. Even though studies have shown that immigrants give more taxes to the government than they actually get in benefits. Why is that? Why do a lot of conservatives believe in that stigma?
I don't think they really know because I do know a lot of illegal immigrants that pay their taxes, and I just don't think that these conservative people, they don't understand that taxes are being paid, and it's not really the kids' fault because they're the ones that are being brought here. They don't have a choice in the matter.
All right. The other day I was reading some articles, and I had passed through one about I think it was called immigration courts. These are certain courts that are as they just determine whether an immigrant can stay or they have to leave the country. There's an issue with these immigrant courts in terms of they have kids going into these courts as young as like 7 years old without a lawyer to represent them, without someone to represent them. So you have kids going into a courtroom trying to make the case that why they should stay in the United States when they barely know the laws, and they're probably only learning how to add and multiply at this point. Why is that a big issue? Why is that a big issue in the United States that we have these courts that determine whether or not you stay in the country, but they're unregulated and to such a way that we have kids going into these courts that don't know what they're going to say or do, like they don't know the laws.
I think that this has to do with the amendments because we do have a right to due process and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think it includes people who aren't citizens of this country, and I think that needs to be amended so that everyone, like regardless where you come from, if they're having a court here, they should be allowed to have some type of representation.
Okay. I have a question for you, Jimena. You're from Arlington, right? Like,
yeah.
So you're born and raised?
Yes.
So, I know, like, I've been in Arlington, like, it's a great place. Like, I think I have a few cousins there, and the culture in Arlington is very, like, they're very open, very, like, I always feel welcome in Arlington in this Hispanic community. Why does it feel like in this Hispanic community they're very open and welcoming to new people that they're meant for maybe new ideas, but it seems like the rest of the United States have a very closed mindset?
in Arlington, there's like a lot of like places like I think there's more than just Hispanics that like really like to like involve others. So like there's also a lot of like Asian areas and there's like Hispanic areas, and it's very like diverse that I think like people have gotten used to seeing people as people and not as an ethnicity. So I think that's the thing. Like it's just the Arlington's culture in general isn't just one ethnicity. It's like multiple. That it's just like it's gotten to.
So, with in the future, if DACA was to be saved and supported and renewed, what cultural effect would that have on the United States?
I think there will be. I think there will be like more Hispanic representatives in like the government in general, like in local governments and like the state and everything. And I think that'll have like a positive impact on like diversity and like seeing that like just because you aren't necessarily like white doesn't mean that you don't have a voice in this country. Like you are also a citizen from here.
And for you, Daniela, how in about 30 years, where do you see how do you future the United States in terms of demographic and how many the percentage of Latinos in the country there are, and how do you think the Latino community will have changed by then?
I think by then, hopefully, we'll have more representations and, politicians and stuff that represent us better than the ones right now, and hopefully that'll bring in more opportunities so the population will increase and the United States will become more diverse.
All right. I also want everyone's opinion on this. So, recently, there's been talks about how both sides, both Republicans and Democrats, are reluctant to kind of like support DACA in such a way. How important is it that the Latino community all over the United States gets involved within going out and voting, participating in their local government? How important is it that Latinos are involved with your government?
It is very important because like in order to be part of something, you also have to help make the decisions. And if like Latinos like really want to make their voice be heard, like one way to do it is to go out and vote. And I think that's why it's like very important.
Yeah, I agree. But I think another thing is also that sometimes they can't and they don't have the rights to vote because they're not citizens, and that's also part of it.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, you both make great points. Like if you want to make a decision, you also be like helping out the government, going out and voting, getting your voices heard, and participating in your local government. But it is also very difficult for an undocumented citizen to do that. So how do you guys think we should approach that issue?
I think it's really up to Congress and making changes to make it easier for other undocumented citizens to be able to vote, or to make the process easier to become a citizen.
I also think like what the kids are doing right now is like a way that they can speak up and like not necessarily have like they don't have the right to vote right now, so they do these walkouts, and I think that's their voting system.
Okay, I agree with both you both. Like, I think Congress should definitely make a change to where they make it a little bit easier for undocumented citizens to become citizens. If Congress and Republicans and conservatives have a big issue of term undocumented immigrants, then let's help them become citizens and assimilate them within, the American culture, so that they can be an asset to the United States. If they have a big problem with that, then let's help them become citizens. One of the things, a question I wanted to ask you guys was, on that note, how do you guys feel? What do you guys think you guys can do in the future to be a part of that change of this big change to DACA and like helping DACA in the future?
Well, I'm a Latina, and my parents like they came here for me, and I'm gonna take advantage of that, and I'm going to like go and like vote and like speak up and kind of like not like also like hear the kids, because like in the future, like it's their future when, like right now, it's my generation is the future, and soon enough, the next generation will be the future. And I think we should help them make the choices, not ourselves, because we already went through everything. So we should help, we should guide them.
Yeah, I agree. I think we should also make more opportunities for the youth to become more involved because it is going to be them in the future as well.
I agree with you both. One thing I wanted to add was um, like growing up, my mom always wanted me to be a doctor or be someone that like makes six figures. But she also like would sometimes jokingly tell me like, you should run for presidency one day so that I can get documented. And like I would joke around here with that like, yeah, I just might do it. But it wasn't until recently like I seriously thought about going into politics whenever I graduate high school and go to college and studying political science. And the more I think about it, the more I want to get into it. And I think that's like just one of the roles as our generation is to plan out our future so that no matter what we do, like we can still be an asset to the community. No matter if you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're a construction worker, like no matter what your profession is, whenever you reach that point of age where you go into a career, that you still become, it still should be your responsibility to be an asset to the community. A thing I learned from NHI, more specifically from president of NHI, Ernesto Nieto, was that he had told me and a group of other students that you can go to the best college, you can have the best jobs, but if you're not coming back to help your community and be an asset to your community, then you're just a part of the servant society, which is for a long time been Latinos. Like he has told us that for a long time it's always been like the white American, the white conservative American that's like the top 1% that's always been on top, and every other race has just been a servant society to help the others grow. And there's quite a few Latinos and minorities that come out and like make it to the top, get that six-figure salary, do the best that they can, but don't come back to help their community. So how do you guys feel? I want your guys' opinions on that.
So I think that, like, me personally, that's why I want to make it big, so I can like come back and like help where I started off. So like I think that you should always go back to your roots, and for me it's the Fort Worth area, Arlington specifically. And so like if I ever do like make it big, I want to come back and like help the next generation, speak up.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like big part Hispanic and big part of this community. It's really just about community, and if you get it to make it big, you should go back because you are Hispanic and it's where you grew up, and you should give back.
So with that responsibility on this generation's back, how important is it that we continue to persist on this road of like speaking up and speaking out about what the issues are going on and taking actions against it? Or should we slow down and take it slow? Do you guys think that we should persist on what we're doing so far or slow down?
I think we need to persist because like it's good to stay persistent. Like we're almost there. Like we shouldn't slow down because like we think that there's a barrier or that we think it'll like benefit. Like no, you have to keep pushing until like you break the boundaries.
Yeah, I agree because I feel like if we slow down, then eventually the movement will lose momentum and then it'll just slowly die out.
Do you think as a community that we've done good enough?
I don't think there's ever enough. I think that there's always space to grow, and I think that we're capable of continuing to speak up.
Okay. Do you think as a community that everyone in the community is involved? That 100% of the Latino community is involved?
No. I know at school we're having some conversations about holding walkouts about DACA and things like that, and a lot of Hispanic people and people involved, or they have some sort of affiliation with DACA, they're saying that they wouldn't do it because they said it was going to be useless and that we didn't have a voice.
So why do you think in this age, like, we have all this media coverage of these DACA walkouts and support for it, why do you think people still feel like they can't go out and support it?
Because I think people don't see the change that is being made. I think that change is being made like slowly and it's like progressing, but people don't like see it, and people want automatic change, but that's not the case. Like, you have to keep going and going until like there's like you're finished. But, yeah.
All right. What do you think about the stigma that some Latinos don't want to go out and support it immediately because they feel like they're going to be like in some sort of danger, like being criticized, being harassed by these online trolls that go out and send death threats and all these other kinds of threats to people that support these kinds of movements?
I know I was looking at an article recently about DACA and how I was showing you none of the comments and how they're saying, oh, they're all legal immigrants anyway, and why aren't they at school, and just a lot of negative comments over the movement. So I do understand why people are fearful about it at first. But I think if we keep going and if we just ignore it and just go peacefully, we can make a change. It's kind of like the civil rights movement, how they kept going regardless.
I think like if they're really passionate about it, they shouldn't be afraid to do it. I know it's like scary because it's like you're speaking up and you don't know like how other people will react, but I still think that if they're extremely passionate about it, eventually they'll be able to influence others to be passionate about it.
So, last question. Let's say in a few years, the first Hispanic president is voted into office. What kind of milestone would that hit, and what would that mean for the Latino community?
Well, I hope they would be able to create more opportunities for us so that we can get more involved in politics, and that'll just create an overall change.
I think that would, how you said that we're like a servant community, like
Servant society?
Servant society. And I think that would prove that label wrong. Like, it would be like, yeah, we're also capable of leading, not just helping others lead.
All right. I want to get some final thoughts in and wrap this up. So, what do you think? What do you think about DACA in terms of where do you think it's gonna go within 100 years? On that scale, like in 100 years, we're still around, and DACA is still like standing and supported. Like, and you see all these Latino leaders rise up because of that DACA program. What do you think that's gonna mean for the country in its future?
I think it's going to be really beneficial because if people do make it, they'll probably support the program a lot more and then just help the program gain more strength and become a lot more beneficial than it is right now.
I agree. I think eventually it'll like grow enough to help millions of people and like enhance like its weaknesses.
Okay. My final thoughts are, like, DACA is a very important program that we should still support and get funding for, and it should not be dismissed in any ways by any means. As a community, we should hold ourselves responsible to making sure that our voice is heard and that we go out and vote, because if we don't vote, then that the community that's actually in opposition to us, that's gonna dismiss DACA, is just gaining strength by us not going out and voting and having our voices heard. So I think it's very important that we persist, we keep pushing, and we get our voices heard within the government so that they know that we are coming and we are supporting DACA. We'll be back after this commercial break.